Well, I got the nose part. But did you hear what I said, though? So we could always start with you making fun of my hat. Yeah. My Gophers. My Minnesota Golden Gophers. See Goldie?
Yeah. Goldie
on the side
Gophers.
There. That's right. Best hockey team in the frickin' world.
They are not.
Well, just because I like them. I don't care if they win or lose. I actually haven't followed them in several years.
Why can't they just have the Gophers? Why would they be Golden Gophers?
Because that's the mascot's name is Goldie.
I always make fun of Lisa's high school, Madison East, Madison, Wisconsin. Their team name was the Purgolders. Guess what their colors were? Purple and gold.
Oh, wow.
I know. I'm like, come on, that's the best you could do.
Yeah. Wow. That's yeah.
Now, okay, but I want to continue that because team names. This just popped into my head. What a shock! Not the direction Nick wanted to go, but we'll go your direction. I promise.
That's okay.
My high school team was the Ponies.
Nice, very nice. So I went to two different schools.
Yeah,
I started high school in a small town in the middle of Minnesota, but we said north because it's north of the Twin Cities.
Yeah,
and it was the Mustangs. That was the first one.
But see, that's a cool
pretty
team name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So then I moved to Anoka, Halloween capital of the world, by the way.
Oh,
yeah. It's Gretchen Carlson is from there.
Really?
And so yes, and she was Miss America, and we had a billboard up on the highway for probably 15 years after she won that.
Okay.
And then Garrison Keeler is also from Anoka.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Anoka, the mascot for our high school was the Anoka Tornadoes.
All right.
Yeah. It was, yeah. And I drove a maroon. Our colors were maroon and white. And I drove a maroon Tornado when I was in high school. When someone had picked off one of the O's, so it said tornado.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. So you had,
and I didn't pick it off. I didn't think of that. I kind of kicked myself for not thinking of that, but
wow.
Yeah.
But you can take full credit for it.
Exactly. In the parking lot of the school.
Yeah.
What story?
Well, the story comes out that you didn't do it on purpose.
I didn't do it. It wasn't my idea. It was genius, but it wasn't my idea. And I don't know who did it because it was in the high school parking lot. Someone went to the front and the back of the car and picked off the letters.
Yeah, that's some Midwest vandalism.
Right there. Exactly.
I took off an O. I didn't scrape anything. I did not mar the paint. In fact, I waxed the whole car after it was done just to make sure that it,
Yeah. What can you do?
That's
so.
Funny.
What was you were the Ponies, and
we were the Ponies.
So
the reason I got to tell you the reason behind the Ponies because I know let's call ourselves the Ponies doesn't really sound. It's not a Mustangs, which sounds really cool. Our coach's last name was Ponashani.
Okay,
Ponyicsanyi. Can't believe I still remember that, but I do. So they named the team after him because he was the first coach.
Okay,
of the high school of the basketball team. So anyway, fun story. Monroe, Wisconsin, which is famous for its Limburger cheese and Swiss cheese and Munster cheese in particular. I think those are the ones. They're the cheesemakers.
Nice.
The Monroe cheese.
You know, it makes sense.
I guess.
I don't know when the last tornado went through Anoka, so I don't know why and it's the Halloween capital of the world, so why wouldn't they say, the Anoka ghouls or something like that?
Ghouls. How did we go with ghouls together?
I don't know.
That was pretty good.
I was looking for a politically correct name, and that was the first thing I came up with. So,
what would be the Black Cats? What else would you?
Exactly. That's probably in this day and age, we'd get canceled for that.
Wow. Seriously?
Probably.
Yeah, you know what? There's some ridiculously going on. Okay. What else is Halloweenish? How about the Anoka Pumpkins?
We'd probably get blacklisted for that.
The Anoka Jack-o'-lanterns.
And speaking of, when did the blacklist, that term, get changed to being canceled?
Yeah, cancel culture.
Is that why it changed? Who knows?
That's terrible. Yeah, and you don't get even with jack-o'-lanterns, that's offensive to people with triangular noses.
Right. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Anyway, let's move on from
Doesn't
there
matter.
because that's
Let's
a
do.
little bit, yeah,
That's
because we could get
depressing.
ourselves into a lot of trouble with
That's
that.
depressing. We're not scared of trouble. Come on. We're
We
tough
ain't
guys.
scared. We ain't scared. What were we talking about? We were talking about mascots. So I was in Arkansas, in Little Rock, Arkansas,
Yeah.
last week. I think it was
Okay.
last week. Maybe it was 2 weeks
And you
ago. I
drove,
don't
yes?
know. I drove, yes,
How
because it was
long
last minute.
of a drive?
It was a 5-hour drive. Actually, it was
Oh.
4 hours and 40 minutes. And the
That's
only
not
reason I
bad.
know that is because I did look up flights from
Because
Nashville
you
to
have a
Little Rock.
clock.
That too. No, I looked up flights from Nashville to Arkansas.
Okay.
And using our system, I'm sure there's a direct flight out there somewhere. But in our system, in our company system, we have to choose from the airlines that we're allowed to fly, right?
Right.
There was not one direct flight, and every other flight that I could find was 5 hours and 5 minutes. So I'm
Oh,
like
boy.
4 hours and 40 minutes in my own car, listening to podcasts, including this one and several others. Yeah, you should be. Man, that John guy.
Whatever.
Anyway,
Yes.
4 hours and 40 minutes listening to podcasts in my own car, can do whatever I want. My car will go from Nashville to Little Rock without stopping for gas, so I don't have to stop if I don't want to. Because
Nice.
You ask my wife, she wants to stop every hour or two, and I'm just like, let's drive straight through.
Wow.
So I perfectly okay, and would beat the airline.
Well,
getting
and
there,
you're
and
not,
I
not
don't have to
only
get a
that,
rental
but
car.
you're not even talking about the before and after the flight,
Right?
too.
Exactly.
At
Not
least,
driving to the airport, parking,
right.
getting a rental
So
car,
probably
driving
2
from
hours
there.
before or so, and
Well,
certainly
it's Nashville.
half
We
an
usually
hour.
leave the house
That's
about an
true.
hour before.
BNA. Banana.
Banana.
Yeah.
BNA. Well, I don't know that song.
Please stop that.
I will. I need to.
Well, that's
Anyway,
cool.
so I
you
was
did
in
the drive. Yep.
I did the drive, and so sidebar, I went to 2 different colleges. I went to my undergrad at Webster University in St. Louis, Missouri. That's the headquarters, the main campus. And then I got my master's at the University of Southern California, USC. So I pull up to my hotel, which is downtown. It was the AC. It's a Marriott property. Pull in, go up to my room, and then I had to go downstairs because I actually did something, John, that I don't usually do because I couldn't find parking in that general area. I valeted. So I needed cash because I don't carry cash. I needed cash so I could tip the valet.
Sure.
There was a ATM bank right across the street from the hotel. Okay. So I go up, I put my stuff away, I come back downstairs, I walk out and I cross the street and I look to my left, big old sign, Webster University, Little Rock campus.
Really?
Like, that's weird. That's interesting. You don't see it very often.
Yeah.
They have different campuses all over, mainly on military bases, all over the world.
Okay.
And they have some in other cities, like they have one in Thailand, they have one in the Netherlands, they have one in London. So it's not odd that there's one there. It's just that it's a separate campus from a military base.
Okay.
And it was in a skyscraper. So anyway, then the next day I'm driving to the dealership and I passed this huge mural of one of the high schools. And I don't remember the name. I think it was Little Rock South or Little Rock West or something like that. Okay. High school, home of the Trojans. And it's big maroon, or not maroon, I'm sorry, crimson and gold, which is the Trojans are the USC Trojans, and our colors are maroon, or not maroon, sorry, crimson and gold. Yeah. So I was just like, what is this? It's bringing me back to my college days for some reason. It's very, very odd. I don't know what you're trying to tell me here. But here's the other interesting thing I want to talk about that. And this is going to be a little bit, scathing in my view of this. So the mascot, since we're talking about mascots, the mascot for Webster University is the Gorlock. It's a mythical creature made up of several different animals that was named after the corner of Gore and Lockwood. I think it was Lockwood in Webster Groves, Missouri, which is where Webster sits.
Okay.
So really, we always used to make fun that the Gorlock was a prostitute because he's named after a corner.
Wow.
But then, of course, what is a Trojan? So I can really pick my colleges here.
You can. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go with the Webster turducken.
Turducken, that would be a good one. Yeah.
Bring all of the animals together.
I don't think they ever thought of that, but that's a really good. I like that. Maybe that's their new one.
Have you
Instead of
ever
the
seen
Gorlock, maybe
those? It's
I
a
have.
turkey stuffed with a duck
I've
stuffed with a
had
chicken.
one.
I'm like, what the heck? And you've
I've had a
had one?
turducken.
I
I've had a
never have.
turducken.
Yeah. Wow. That's a little
Yeah.
weird. I could see taking a turkey, a carcass, and then you put the duck's head on it and chicken feet. I don't know. Then you have to do surgery, and that'd be weird.
That's kind of like a jackalope.
It's like a jackalope, yes. Or what's the guy with the motorcycle body, the dude's torso.
Oh yeah, what is he?
I can't think what they call it, but it's one of the funny insurance ads.
Oh god, those insurance ads. They're just I love those things.
But look at us. I can't remember if it's well, it's not crap. What's the
Geico?
Liberty?
Gecko? Oh, Liberty.
It's not Liberty Mutual.
No,
is it?
No?
Yeah, that one. What's that? Is that Liberty
That's
Mutual?
Liberty.
It is.
That's Liberty, yeah.
But I was thinking the ones by the Statue of Liberty, where they
that's also
the guy selling wet teddy bears. What the heck is that?
Or the guy who's wearing the cell phone costume that vibrates
jumps into the rice when he falls into the water or gets splashed. It was awesome. So it's funny stuff, but you got to remember who the advertiser is, for them to work. So is it that one, or is it
the Geico Gecko? You can't remember. You can't forget the Geico Gecko.
But who's the other? The one.
Progressive
with Flo. Progressive.
Yeah.
So,
and Flo is also in. If anyone cares, I really enjoy. What is it? Shoot, can't remember the name of the show.
That's us all the time.
I know it's. I can picture it in my head. It's they're from the 80s, and it's the guy who writes the show is basically writing about his family, and it has the Goldbergs. It's the Goldbergs. That is a hilarious show. But Flo from the Progressive commercials is one of the characters in.
Is she really?
The Goldbergs. Yeah.
Is she pretty good? Is she?
Oh, she's hilarious. Okay. They're all hilarious. I mean, that's a funny show. You used to watch. I think you told me you used to watch Reno 911.
I've watched it. I didn't.
Okay, so one of the police officers in Reno 911, the female police officer, is Mrs. Goldberg. She's the mom, and she is freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I would highly recommend, if you need another binge-worthy show, start watching Goldbergs.
Yes, listeners, if you do, viewers, if you do,
we love the Goldbergs in this house.
Okay, that's awesome.
Good Jewish family.
Good Jewish family.
Yeah. So anyway, and it was just funny because it's a Jewish family, but they go to a Quaker school.
Oh, okay. Really?
And that is prominently shown in the show as well.
Okay.
So
that's funny too. So you were talking about where you were going to go with this, and it was going to be raucous or whatever you were going to say. What?
No, that was it. I was talking about.
I didn't get the raucous part.
I was talking about condoms and
that wasn't bad. That was not bad.
Well, it's in my mind. You know my mind.
Your mind is very pure. Is the driven snow.
I wouldn't go pure, but I would go cautious.
Your mind is very cautious?
Yeah. You could probably be canceled for not saying anything. So I just don't want to be canceled.
So the guy with can't think of his name, but you would probably know it, with Barstool Sports.
Yeah. I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Dave something or other. Anyway, I like him. He's had several people try to threaten him and with cancellation and with all sorts of things. And he just F-bombs them and keeps going.
Yeah.
And doesn't pay any attention. And
I'm seeing that more often.
They start to leave him alone.
Yeah. I'm seeing fewer and fewer people get it canceled because they're just like, screw you.
Yeah. Yeah. And what happened to that? What happened to the, it's just oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. And it's I don't understand. It's sad, but I'm hoping that something will cause that.
Something's got to at some point. Well, we always go to extremes, trying to get, we've talked about politically or whatever. Yeah. Everyone tries to get to the middle, but you have to go to the extremes to get to the middle. And I think we
Interesting.
might
Why
be
do you
headed
say
back.
that? Tell me more about that. Why do you say that you have to start far left or far right to get
Well,
to the
it's
center?
kind of like, everything gets worse before it gets better. You have
Okay.
to hit
Oh, I
rock
see what you
bottom
mean. So
first. It's the
society,
same.
I thought you meant as individuals that for us to get to
No.
the center, we have to go far left and say, well, I
No,
don't
no,
want to
no,
be
no, no,
there,
no.
and then
No,
move
I'm
to the
just
middle.
you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. I'm talking about society. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, but then you're absolutely right because you brought it up. I think that yeah, societally we look at that and I don't think. Again, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole because you and I can do that, but this is one where I don't believe that most of America falls outside of let's call it 10 to 20% around the center. Most
Agreed.
of America is right in that area.
Mhm.
And there are, arguments about which direction, if it's directionally accurate. But the thing I have a problem with is sometimes there people tell lies. Sometimes broadcasting is inaccurate, and sometimes
No.
purposely so. And not this website or this podcast,
This
but
podcast. No, we
there
tell
are
the truth.
several. It's because of an agenda, they can justify anything. The end justifies the means.
Right.
And so I think there's an inordinate amount of noise, both on the left and right. You can make arguments for either,
Yep.
and some valid arguments for either. But because of that noise, you artificially think that primary segment of the population is in one direction or the other way more
Right.
than they are.
Right. Interesting. So I've listened to the Joe Rogan podcast. I think I've mentioned that multiple times.
Sure.
How many people don't, right? I think everybody that listens to a podcast listens to Joe Rogan probably.
I wish we had, I don't know, half his audience. We could
I wish I
somehow
could have a
live on
10th of
that.
his audience.
I meant that too, but you got to start high. I want
Right.
to start with that.
Aim high.
Okay, I'll
work-
give them. Maybe Joe goes, okay. Joe's voice is kind of high. Have you noticed that? But
Yeah.
especially when he gets going, his voice is pretty high and can be tough to listen to when he does
Yeah.
a stand up.
Well, he just had COVID, so maybe it'll go a little bit lower.
He did. Maybe he'll lower it and he won't be able to smell things.
Yeah.
I like listening to his stuff, but yeah, I'm sure he's going to say, give them half of my audience and
Yeah.
there you go. But you got to start somewhere. You got to say,
and that's exactly it. But he had Dan Crenshaw on the podcast, and he has had him several times. And Joe's moved to Texas, and Dan Crenshaw is a Texan.
Oh, I did hear that. That's right. Yeah,
yeah.
I did.
So the interesting thing, though, the one area I picked up a lot of things from him, but the one area I really liked how he said it, and I'm going to butcher it completely, so I apologize, Mr. Crenshaw. He had said, and I'm quoting him loosely. I'm a Republican, but there's one thing that I think we all need to look at and do is realize that we don't disagree with what the left is saying. We just disagree with how they want to get there. So he used as the example healthcare.
Sure.
He said, I don't think there is any one of us that disagree that healthcare needs to be reformed. We're not saying it doesn't. The left always says we say that, but we're not. We're not saying it doesn't need to be reformed. We just can't agree on how it's going to be reformed.
Sure.
And if everyone can recognize that and start working and compromising towards that goal, which is probably somewhere in the middle, we're not going to be successcul until that happens. And I'm like, why can't we all talk like that? Why can't we say that? Why can't we compromise?
Because there are certain things, and I think both sides should be clear about this, certain things on which there is no compromise. One example is abortion.
Yeah.
That's not really a compromisable
No, that one's not.
issue.
No,
but
there's
there
so
are
many
some
other issues that are important to
There are
us.
absolutely some that are, and I'm not sure even compromise is the right way to describe it. Maybe a better way forward with things like healthcare and with things like immigration.
Yeah.
And it's not, compromising with people's lives. It's saying, how do we keep us safe first? That should be the first goal, my opinion. And then the second goal is then outsiders, if we need to improve the process to bring people in legally, then let's do that. But let's not just willy-nilly open the door and say, come on in. Frankly, much has happened with Afghanistan.
Excuse me. Right.
So I found it interesting, and this is all hearsay because I did not witness it firsthand. But at one of the Army bases in Virginia, there were 8,000, let's say is the number, and I could be wrong. So call me out if you would like to. 8,000 refugees brought in from Afghanistan.
Okay.
And we were told initially that they were some of the translators that helped out the soldiers. And by all means, we want to help those people and make them safe. Well, then they put an ad out looking for people who speak the Afghanistan languages. So apparently these were not translators.
Oh no.
And so my question is, how do these folks, how are they directed to get on a plane and say, oh, you want out? Which is everybody who's not with the Taliban, probably.
Right.
Hop on the plane. I don't get that. I don't understand that. And so anyway, I don't want to go down the Afghanistan trail, but I think
Right.
it's a.
I hadn't heard that one. That one's interesting.
Yeah, well, and that again, it all depends who you watch and what you listen to, as to whether you hear a lot of this.
And
news.
you've got to know the whole story too, because here's one for example. There was an outrage, and trust me, I got on that bandwagon too, because I'm a dog lover. About the service dogs being left behind.
Yep.
And that, I mean, that went viral. But then it's been proven that those weren't service dogs.
I don't think it was proven.
Well, I mean, no one can have 100% proof, but they did say, no, these were different dogs that were not service member dogs. Not that they shouldn't get out, but they were waiting on a separate airplane that never showed up.
Well, so they actually interviewed a guy that he did work for a soldiers group that was trying to get out the dogs that were essentially serving.
Right.
And he said that they were able to get several out, but there were so many that they just couldn't. And so as usual, especially when the media is involved today, you have loads of half-truths and pieces that sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not, based on what sadly has become a media narrative on both sides. On both sides.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous. And I long for the days of Walter Cronkite and some of those guys, because not that he was perfect or not that he was necessarily a centrist, but at least there were only 3 or 4 channels and there wasn't a 24-hour news cycle.
Right.
So now they just try to fill space with something, and usually it's driven by
there's an app that I have on my phone, and I don't have my phone up here for once. I didn't bring it up. I know.
Wow.
I was hoping it was on my iPad, which is sitting next to me, but it wasn't. But there's an app, and I will put the name in the show notes of the app, but I don't remember. But it is designed to, when you open it, it'll show you all the different stories on a specific topic, and it'll tell you which news outlet it comes from and where they fall on the political leaning. So there's the red side, which is conservative, the blue side, which is liberal, but then there's a gray area. They have a gray bar, tells you which ones are centrist. So you can see, and a lot of them fall in different places for different things, but you can actually go in and pick the story topic and hit, I want to know the middle. I want to know where you are in the middle, or I want to read because now I found myself, I always wanted it. I liked it, the idea of it, because I could always just read the actual news, the Cronkite type of news.
Right.
But now I find myself reading that one, then I read the left, and then I read the right, just to see how it differs. And it's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah. Completely different narratives on either side.
Interesting. I will look for the app, because that sounds like, especially for you are very fair-minded in that you will look at maybe the piece you agree with first, but you then look at extremes in both directions.
I have. That's just me. That's my makeup. I have to. I want to know both sides, because I've heard it said before, there's 3 sides to every story.
Sure. Yeah.
Yours, his, and somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Yeah, seeking the truth would be a really good thing to do. Okay, let's switch things up a little bit, because I actually did some research for a work project, which is a real simple, like a voiceover piece, based on some industry links that we often will send out. One of the guys that we work with does a nice compilation of automotive
Yes.
articles and
Yeah,
posts.
I
And
love that. Every
yeah, I do
Friday.
too. Yeah, and he does such a good job with
He does.
thoughtfully choosing them. His name is Lewis, and yeah, he's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
But I was diving into it a little bit because I did a little commentary that our friend Joe sometimes does, and so the commentary I broke down into two areas. One was inventory, and the other was electrification of vehicles.
Yep.
And so a couple things I learned about electrification. That heading now covers almost everything that is non-traditional ICE, internal combustion engine.
Okay.
So it includes things like hybrids,
Hybrids.
plug-ins, actual electrical vehicles, and even alternative fuel vehicles all fall under that electrification, even
Right.
though the alternative fuel like hydrogen, they really
Well,
don't have
No,
electrification
but
elements.
no, that's not true because isn't the motor that's being fired charging the batteries in one of those?
It depends on one of them maybe, but in
Okay.
the ones that GM initially, and they had proving grounds with it for many years,
Mhm.
and it was a hydrogen conversion essentially. I don't know to what degree you can do that, but it was essentially an ICE,
Okay.
combustion engine that worked with hydrogen. The beautiful part about that is, and they used, what did they, equinoxes, I think they did
Okay.
multiple equinoxes, like 50 of them, and use them pretty well. Come on, who are you smiling at?
Jennifer.
Jen.
Jen.
She
She's
can't just
waving.
come in without going on camera and
He said,
instantly making us look better
you can't come in without coming in on camera.
and instantly
Oh, she's
making us
coming
look
up with our
better.
liquor order.
Yes.
It is, for those of you, it is a three-day holiday. So here, you'll have to come in now and say hi. Hold on.
Hi,
Oh.
Jen.
Hi, how are
Oh,
you?
sorry, is it too loud? Yeah. Hi,
No.
Jen. Okay, so how much liquor is in the liquor order? That's what I really want to know.
Not too much.
Did he pay you to say that?
Come on.
No.
Oh, you can see
It depends on your
judgy.
judgy level, whether
Oh.
it's too much,
Yeah. I'd say my judgy level would be the opposite end of the spectrum. So whatever you got is probably not enough.
Okay. Well, he said add some more then.
What do you want, John?
Oh, well, let's see. Get me a case of Grey Goose.
Oh, well, we have Absolute on the list. Will that be okay?
That will work. Absolutely. Just
Okay.
probably should get
Absolutely.
absolutely well done. But get at least a case. I think that would be
At least a case.
Oh, wow. You're coming for a while then, huh?
Nick goes, I didn't know we were going to have to cut the order in half.
All right.
It is a long weekend after all.
Yes. So what are you guys up to today?
Oh gosh, we're packing.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. So the move is coming up before we know it. The 17th, we're out of the condos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you don't think you're going to have much of the nice lady who's buying the place is taking most of our furniture. So you think, well,
great.
this is kind of awesome. We'll just buy new and she's paying for it. And then you start packing boxes and go, where did all this crap come from?
I haven't seen this in years.
I know. And why do we still have it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's what we're going through right now. The head shaking of too many boxes.
Yes. We I don't know if Nick told you, but my cousin moved in with us recently.
Yes, he did mention that. Yeah.
So we were purging some closets and dresser drawers and found a plethora of things that we haven't seen since we moved here. Like, where are all these linens? Why are they in the closet? I don't know. But we have kept them.
Awesome.
Because that's important.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah. Just in case. We want to have 17 sets of linen.
Absolutely.
Half of them for beds you no longer own.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about the twin bed? You remember the bunk beds, twin beds? Yeah.
Remember when we
them
had the
anymore,
crib?
We have the linens and the crib linens. We have
Yes.
those.
We still have that. It's in the attic.
Yeah, for
We're talking
when the
about
babies
linens.
come over.
Right. Yeah. Because we have so many babies that spend the night here.
Yes.
So we must keep the sheets.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So how's Craig doing? He never tells us the whole story, and we miss Craig.
Yes, he should come back. Craig
Yeah.
is good.
Good.
Yeah, he's fine. He's
He's
fine.
the same. Craig is consistent.
I will tell him that he is missed.
Please do that.
Yeah,
He
I
knows,
will.
I'm sure, but Yeah, he sent me his barbecue sauce the last time he came on. It was
And what
awesome. Oh, it's
good, good.
delicious. I put it on everything.
We
But
do
don't
that
tell
too.
him. I don't want him to get a big head.
Okay. Yeah, we'll keep that between us and
Yeah, ixnay.
the universe.
Yes,
All right. Well, I will
exactly.
turn it back over to
Yay,
Nick. It's
Jen!
good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for joining us. She's way better than you.
I know, she's much better looking too.
And prettier, yes. Holy cow.
I know, right?
I would have done my hair if I knew that she was going to come
I
on.
did my hair.
Which
But
one?
did you guys like my heating pad in the background when I moved the camera?
Didn't see your heating
I've been having back issues lately.
no.
And yeah,
Okay. Like to
But,
what degree?
just tightness, a lot of tightness, and probably haven't been. It's probably because I've been spending so much time in front of the computer. I haven't really been
That's for
stretching
me too.
and golfing and working out or anything. So
Yep. That's what I need to do. All of those things.
yeah,
I played golf twice this year.
yeah, I know you told me you were going to. How did you play the last time?
Terribly. Yeah, I was terrible.
Oh, good. But you had fun.
No, it sucked, but it was and played terribly. But no,
right.
it was actually fun. It was I happily. I used to get angry when I would play poorly when I was a kid. Now I don't. I don't care because you get people. I've played with, and I know you have too, who are doing the helicopter whipping their clubs when it's a bad shot or
Yeah.
seriously. And I've seen club heads fly off, and I've seen just about everything.
That's funny though.
It's funny unless they're doing something in anger. When they hammer it down on the ground and the club head fires off and almost hits somebody. And
I was playing in Canada, and so I've told you about my Canada trips before, but sometimes we flew, sometimes we drove. And this was a driving year, and so we stopped at golf courses along the way from Minnesota up to Waskesiu in Canada. And we played at this one course, and it was a links course, so no trees. And we got rained on, and I was playing with my stepbrother, and I used to have persimmons. I used to enjoy playing with persimmons, which is, for those of you who aren't golfers, they're wooden heads. Golf on your driver and your 3-wood, they're wooden instead of metal.
Made with persimmon wood, hence the name.
Correct. And these were Ben Hogan's, by the way. So if
you stole them from Ben?
Yeah, no. My first set of irons were Ben Hogan's, but I enjoy it was just I was going through a classic phase. Let's just say that. It's not that I didn't have metalhead clubs. I just wanted to play with the persimmons.
You chose the persimmons.
I chose the persimmons, and my stepbrother John, also John, just spelled differently. He was in my group, and I let him borrow my 3-wood because he wanted to hit the persimmons. And by the way, he's much older than I am. He's 18 years older than I am. And these were his clubs when he was my age back then. So he wanted to hit with them again, and it had rained, and he was in the fairway. He took out a 3-wood.
Oh no.
Came back, went through, and he's got a really hard swing. I mean, he's got a lot of muscle behind it. Hit a sprinkler head that was buried under the water, which I don't even know why he was hitting, because it was casual water. He should have been able to pick up. And he hit the ball. He hit it well, but he also hit the sprinkler head, and the persimmon head just snapped right off and went flying after the ball.
Wow.
It was pretty funny. I was heartbroken that he broke the persimmon, but I couldn't stop laughing because it was so funny.
But you had to play the rest of the round without a 3-wood.
I never used the 3-wood anyway.
Oh, then you didn't care. Okay.
No, I'm very tall, so I tend to hit the ball a long way. So I usually use a driver and then I actually carried a 2-iron too, but you know why 2-irons are great? You can hold a 2-iron up in a lightning storm,
because not even God can hit a 2-iron.
Exactly.
Yes, I know. Everybody knows that.
Not everybody. Non-golfers don't know that.
No, of course not. Yeah, nice. Good point. Yes, I just play cricket.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
I want to ask you. So, what clubs do you carry in your bag? What brand do you? Hold on.
I am partial to. Yep. Yeah, I'm partial to right now, which is interesting because they stopped making clubs for a while, and then I have to be very, very careful. They stopped making regular irons for a while.
Okay.
But I do think they're back. So my clubs are actually 20 years old. and I just keep regripping them because I love them so much that I just haven't found anything that I like better. I play Cleveland's, which most people who are golfers know Cleveland makes a lot of chipping irons, sand wedges, pitching wedges, gap wedges, things like that. And so I got a set a long time ago, almost 25 years ago now, and I just haven't parted with them. My driver is a Callaway, and that one was given to me, and it's a massive head, and I like it because it's forgiving. I used to play a Titleist Starship.
Okay. Ding.
Ding. And the interesting thing about that is
I saw them in concert.
The Starship is actually very, very tingy. So when you hit it, people know you hit it because it's loud. It's a ting.
Yeah.
Which is why I kept it for so long. It's a smaller head. I go back and forth between the two depending on where I'm playing. The Titleist is not as forgiving, but it's a 9-degree head. So the ball stays a lot lower.
Sure.
Where the Callaway is a 10.5, and I tend to hit the ball high anyways. So if I'm playing where there's a lot of trees and I want good distance on the ball, I'll play with the Callaway. If I want it to stay lower, then I'll play the Titleist.
Interesting. Okay.
And then of course I don't carry any other woods. So it's but I haven't played the 2-iron in a long time. I still have it, but I don't put it in my bag.
So mine's different, obviously, because I don't. I have never prioritized buying better clubs. I've gotten some over the years, but nothing, usually just hit and miss. I have gotten nice putters. So I have new putter this year, and it's actually pretty nice. It has pretty good feel to it, and a bigger grip, which is kind of interesting how that affects things. But it's almost twice the size of
a regular
grip on my old one. And
Sure.
So anyway, it's a nice one. It's been fine. My driver is nothing special. It's a burner, and I think that's a Rawlings or something like that. I don't know.
A burner is
a burner?
Oh crap! I've got one too.
You'll think of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I have that, and I'm not great with it, but it's a perfect size for me, and it's extended a couple inches. So, like you, I'm a little taller when I swing, and I need some extension. Now, speaking of old irons, I have them. Mine are probably 40 years old or more.
Okay.
Because I've had them for at least 20 years, and I think the guy before me I bought them from had them for probably that long, and they're pings. So they were at that time custom made and custom length. Not custom made, as custom as they can be without actually going into the shop. And they're still okay. They're not great. I need to upgrade for sure. But before this year, I hadn't played, in probably 2 years. So
if I got back to the level I was playing, say in college, I'd have to, because the faces on the clubs are worn down, and if you're competing, these are not clubs I could use to compete.
Sure.
I know that, but
we'd sometimes travel, and I'd rather rent clubs because the rentals are nicer than my real ones.
These clubs are still phenomenal clubs. They're built. So I don't know if you've heard this, but when you buy clubs, if you are not necessarily a professional, but if you compete, the better clubs to be able to control the ball are blades. They call them blades. So there's difference, but there's a blade and there's a cavity back. Most golf clubs that most people play are cavity backs. Where professionals, college kids, stuff like that, they play blades.
Yeah.
I grew up on blades. That's pretty much all I've ever played, except for I had one set of, and I don't know if this brand is still around. They're called Founders Clubs.
Oh, okay.
Those were great clubs. Those were cavity backs.
Okay.
And I did play those for a long time. Cavity backs will give you more control over the ball. Not control over the ball. They'll be more forgiving. So if you tend to slice more, they'll slice less. Whereas a blade is not very forgiving. But again, if you have the skill to control a ball, you can control the ball better.
Cool.
So these clubs, what made them famous and why I chose to buy them when I was in college was they are cavity backs, but they are set up to act like blades.
Oh, all right.
So they're lighter than blades, but they hit like blades. even though they have a cavity on the back.
Interesting.
And they tend to last a little bit longer as well. So,
Well, we need to get out and play.
yeah,
We need
absolutely.
to prioritize that.
Yep.
Where we can make that happen. So I guess you're going to have to come down to Florida.
Okay.
Make
Darn.
that I know in the winter.
Yeah.
So,
I was having a conversation with somebody. I said, the only thing I like during summer is a golf course.
Yeah.
When I'm on it.
Yeah.
Other than that, give me -10. I'm happy.
I wish I had a
I
little
know.
more of that. I don't want much of it, but a little more of that. Because
Yeah.
one year, this is funny. Lisa and I decided, you know what? We need to embrace the winter. We're going to be here up north in Wisconsin. We might as well just have fun and let's plan to do. So we went under the tree at Christmas time and we had both gotten the other snowshoes.
Nice.
Yeah. And so she opened and she says, no way. And I said, what? And she looks under the tree. And I said, shut up. And she went out on hers maybe 2 or 3 times. I never had mine on, never strapped them on. I think they're at St. Vincent de Paul's now. And
Nice.
Some snowshoer is going, oh, look what I found. So, yeah.
That's funny. I've never been in a place where the snow is deep enough to warrant. That's not necessarily true. There was one year I was deer hunting and my dad and I should have been wearing snowshoes. But other than that, never had a use for snowshoes.
Well,
Snow's never been deep enough.
We used to live on a golf course. So oftentimes, since they didn't plow it or anything like that in the winter, not only would people cross country ski, but there were actually some pretty nice areas for snowshoeing too. So
we did cross country ski a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Do you still have your skis?
No. Okay. No, I don't have anything. The only thing that I have left over from any sort of winter anything, I still have my hockey gloves.
Okay.
And I have a stick.
Okay. Skates.
And it was my skates. So when we lived in Dixon, the last house before we moved to this house, we actually had a basement. And we were so excited to have a basement because that's very rare here in Tennessee.
Yep.
And we put a bunch of stuff down there, including half of my wife's inventory from the store she owned.
Okay.
No one told us that the basement flooded.
Oh, no.
So we had a flood and my skates were in there and they got wet and they molded. So skates had to go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was not fun. And then of course I don't skate much. I skate probably less than I play golf. So I just didn't replace them. I wanted to. I mean, there's still part of me that wants to go get my own set of skates, but
what do you do when you skate now? Do you rent them or what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But there's so few places to skate. I mean, in Minnesota, you don't have to pay to skate in the winter.
True.
You just go and find a rink somewhere and
skate.
Well,
we used to find lakes and we'd shovel off the lake and we'd play hockey. And then
you don't do that in Tennessee because, if there's ice on the lake, it's just it'll be gone by noon.
That's true. Well, you have to play early.
Yeah, exactly.
We played conversely in, I can't think of the name of the Manitowish Waters in Wisconsin. And it was 15 below zero when we strapped the skates on. And we went outdoor rink and we played at this outdoor rink for an hour and a half. And we were, in our 40s or maybe some of us 50. And it was ridiculous. Everybody with facial hair had just frozen condensation.
Yep.
It was
it's worth it. It's so worth it.
Oh my gosh, that's cold. It was great after you got started, but it was horrendous.
Yeah. That was the worst part. Growing up was walking from the house to the skating rink.
Yes.
But I'd be there all day. That's what we did when we weren't in school. We were at the rink.
Sure.
And
that helps you appreciate the colder weather. There's no doubt.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the interesting thing I would say about Nashville versus, say, the Twin Cities. More people are out in the winter. In Minnesota, at least my experience, is probably your experience in Wisconsin. Sure. People are out year round.
No question. I think more so in Minnesota, probably just not so much downtown anymore because they have all the passageways, the gerbil tubes, that people can get around downtown. But most of those people are not from there anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So they've transplanted from somebody or someplace. But yeah, Wisconsin is there's some of that, especially like football season and so on, but there's not as much. There's plenty of ice fishing and things like that. It just seems like it's more of a lifestyle and
exactly. It's a lifestyle. And even in Minnesota, there's still festivals in the winter.
Sure.
There's the ice is it ice? I don't even remember what it's called. It's been so long, but there are parades, there are festivals. There are a lot of things that happen in the winter. In Tennessee, everything shuts down in the winter. I mean, there are no there's one.
Well, yeah, it gets down to 30. Gosh, that's terrible.
No, it gets down 40. To 40. Yeah. If it gets down to 30, I can understand things shutting down around here. But no, I mean everything. It's just crazy. They're when I am like, okay, it's nice. Let's go hiking. Let's go out. Let's do stuff. It's cold. It's put on your hat. Put on everything. No, people are like, no, staying in the house.
That's the difference for me between fall and winter. So I will, in the fall, I'm with you. I don't mind 40 degrees in the morning. I mean, I've taken the dog out to walk him. He seems to want to go at 5 a.m., which is awesome for me. Yeah. And we go out and do a quick walk. And I've got shorts on, and it's probably 45 in the morning, maybe 50. I don't know. But it feels nice. It's a nice, and especially in the fall, there's nothing like the, smell of burning leaves and
I know.
You've got a flannel shirt on, and it's really nice. And it can be 35 or 40 degrees, and that's no big deal. It's just not. So, it's a different story in the winter, though. I mean, that's where when it's 20 below, for me anyway, not you.
I love it.
Why? What is good about it? How long are you staying out when it's 20 below?
Depends on what I'm doing. I'm not saying I don't get cold, but I just
I can't use my hands anymore. I'll only stay out for another hour.
Maybe.
Jeez, it's terrible.
It depends. It really just depends on what you're doing. If I have to go do chores in 20 below, no, it sucks.
Yeah.
But if I'm just out and about doing stuff, I love it. I like getting out of a warm place, feeling the cold, and then being able to go into a warm place.
And see, I can get that to maybe 10 degrees. Okay. And I'm with you on that. 20 below is a whole different climate.
For me, once you hit anything below, to me, and I know there's a big difference, but to me, 2 below still feels like 10 below, and 10 below still feels like 20 below.
It doesn't to me. It's a totally different, because it's the crunch of the snow when it's 30 below zero or 20, but you can see I keep getting colder.
Yeah.
30 below zero, and the crunch of the snow when you it's just like that. That's a really good impression, by the way.
That is.
And when it's 20 degrees above, it's a whole different
again,
world.
if I've got to go walk the dogs or something, I'm not going to like 10 or 20 below.
Right.
But if I'm playing hockey, I don't care.
Yeah.
That's the difference right there.
I would say playing hockey maybe is a different set of rules, but I still would rather get dressed in the warm and then come out in the cold.
No, I mean, and that's the thing that people make fun of me, because here, if it gets down to 20 degrees or 10 degrees, I'm all bundled up and like, I thought you were from Minnesota. And I said, yeah, it teaches you how to dress for weather like this. That's my reaction to it.
That's funny. Well, and that's not the only reason they make fun of you, by the way. Anyway,
no, of course not. I'm just talking about that particular instance. There's a lot more.
They make fun of me because of the hat, the Minnesota Golden Gophers hat.
Well, and this is my Minnesota Lake Nokomis.
Okay. We couldn't tell. That looked like flip-flops. Any flip-flops.
It is flip-flops. Yeah, but it says Lake Nokomis.
Yeah.
Minnesota, Minneapolis.
Didn't know that. Okay.
Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yeah.
That's Minnesota, Minneapolis.
I haven't lived there for 20 years.
I have a Wisconsin brewery, since we're doing that. Central Waters Brewery.
Central
Wisconsin. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Good. I've got a Nashville Cup to offset my Minnesota isms.
Your Minnesota shishin or something. All right. Let's say goodbye to these nice people, and then
we'll miss them.
Of course we will. They can visit us anytime by going to all of our social channels. And if you want to find out where they are, simply go to PoddiMouths.com.
What? PoddiMouths.com.
Dang it. What?
I got your back, man. That's what I'm here for.
PoddiMouths.com. I'm still a little surprised that hasn't caught on.
I am too.
Although
but
it does sound a little like a dog pound.
I don't get that reference.
Where's
but
your
okay.
Dog Pound website? Whoa, whoa,
Whoa,
whoa.
whoa. Oh, I got it now. Okay, good. You're good. Good. I
Thank
didn't
you,
connect the
yeah.
dots there.
Gonna go over big in the dog community. I'm sure
It
of that.
is. Well, all the dogs. We probably have more dogs listening to this than we have humans.
You know how
My
we can
dogs
find
listen,
out?
and your dog listens. So that's 3.
I do that, and I can make Indy do the siren. It's awesome.
Oh, is that? I
First
got
Wednesday
Clyde
of
to
the
do
month.
that for a little while, but then he stopped. I think he got wise to it.
Well, it's rolling his eyes at you. That might have
Yeah,
something to
exactly.
do
He does
with it.
that a lot. He's not up here anymore. Anyway,
People,
it's been real. It's been fun.
it has. It really
It
has.
has been real fun.
Has too.
Okay. Have a great week, everybody.
See ya.